Bring the lights down low, time to start the show. Lights, camera, you know what we mean. Behold the magic of the silver screen. Some movies rock, some movies shock. They're powerful or odd. We cover them all on your favorite pod. They're dramatic, funny, sometimes scary. That's not weird, that's extraordinary. I got the need and I've got a fever. So play me a little dream weaver. Life moves pretty fast. Some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math. It's the 30-something movie podcast. Be excellent to each other. Peace out and word to your mother. They're from the best decades. Movie magic that never fades. Lightsabers clash, phasers set to stun. Action packed from dusk till dawn. We have deep thoughts and questions three. Come share our love of the movies we see. Life moves pretty fast. Some will fizzle and some movies last. I understood there would be no math. It's the 30-something movie podcast.
Good evening. Moments from now, we will start a podcast, and podcasters from around Lake County, Illinois, will gather together to launch the largest audio podcast in the history of mankind. That's not true.
That'd be quite the thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know that public radio... John, I'm sorry, did I interrupt your monologue?
No, go ahead.
Public radio every year reads his monologue on Independence Day. They do.
Oh, do they really? Nice.
They do. It's one of the... I think it's the NPR Politics podcast. They'll do it
Okay.
on there. Almost positive it is. But
That's outstanding.
yeah, it is. And I've got to read it to make absolute sure I've got that right. But I want to say that they started doing it. One of the hosts does it, and it's just a really fun tradition.
Well, and if you read about the monologue, there's a great moment where they talk about how that monologue was kind of an accident. Like, it was written as a placeholder, and they always said they'd go back and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they never did. And Dean Devlin is sitting in his office one day, and someone says, everybody's going down to the set. They're shooting the speech. And he's like,
What speech?
We never rewrote that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a great interview with him on, I think it's Dropping Names with Brent and Johnny.
Okay.
It's either Dropping Names with Brent and Johnny or Once We Were Spacemen. Unfortunately, I listen to them usually often back to back, so
Right.
I conflate them. But the interview with Dean Devlin was fantastic, and it was very timely as I listened to it.
It was on, it was the Dropping Names.
There we go.
Yeah, it was on apparently April 23rd of this year. There was an episode Behind the Curtain with Dean Devlin.
Yeah, it was really good. They talk about this a little bit. Yeah, good fun.
I gave a portion of this speech at one of my siblings' weddings.
Outstanding.
So I was giving the best man speech, and I took portions of this speech and interspersed it with the marriage speech from Princess Bride, and I believe maybe also the lyrics of Love is a Battlefield. Combination things. And the Braveheart speech. They'll never take our freedom. So there was a lot of lifting from movies.
Obviously.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun. This time around, I did have a little chuckle as I was watching it, and it gets to the part where he's giving the speech, and he's like, largest aerial battle in the history of mankind. And then he stops and he goes, mankind. That word should have new meaning for us all today. And I'm sitting there, and it immediately makes me think of the Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, mankind is broken up into two words, mank and eind. Nobody knows what they mean. No. Well, if you can't tell, our movie this time around is Independence Day, and this one is especially special because we are doing Independence Day, but this is also, gentlemen, anybody want to take a wild guess as to what episode number this is for us?
It's got to have a 0 at the end of it, or a...
It has 0.
So then this must be 600?
650.
650.
Wow.
650. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, not that we timed it that way, but, you know, if you're going to do 650, you might as well blow up everything.
Indeed.
It was good.
Checkmate.
That
That
is.
movie poster is still amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just wanting to say that this is a very special episode. Do any of you know why? And I was just going to say because the movie's awesome.
Right.
But 650.
I would like to very quickly comment. Last week, our episode was Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Meh.
Here we go.
I had fully intended at the end of that episode to say, does anybody have any final words they want to say before we sign off? And then at least have one of us go, yeah, I do. Butt and cheeks. Didn't do it, though. Didn't do it. But I did it just now, so.
We can edit that in. I believe it's a little cut and paste action.
It's my understanding there would be no editing on this
Okay.
podcast.
All right. We do it old school.
Stream of consciousness, I thought, right?
Yeah, stream of subconsciousness is what we do.
Indeed.
We are the
We record
30-something podcast, the lack of happening.
we record podcasts the way the Pilgrims did on the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria while crossing
Yeah.
the Pacific Ocean to defend Pearl Harbor from the Germans.
Absolutely.
Uphill both ways in the snow.
Germans? Forget it, he's rolling.
He's rolling.
All right. Well, we spoil freely here, so just be warned as we're talking. We may mention another movie. You may want to hit skip a couple of times to get past that part. Make sure you have visited our website at some point. You can leave a voicemail there, become a co-executive producer over on our Patreon page where there's a lot of other bonus content. That is 30, the number 330, thewordpodcast.com is our website, and you can get to all of our past episodes and our bonus content, all that other good stuff over there on our website. As we do with each first episode of the month, and this is our first episode of Maximum Destruction Month, the month of July. We had a lot of fun stuff coming out this month. We have got over on Patreon, we got White Squall is going to be our movie. This one is Independence Day. Next week is Dragonheart, and then Twister, and then The Rock, and then Eraser. So we're basically blowing everything up during the month of July, as is our oeuvre. Is that the right word?
That's our way.
No,
Blow it up.
But, okay.
Yeah, bro. I feel like that's the word for eggs. I don't
Oeuvre
know
easy?
languages. Yeah, oeuvre easy. Yes, that's exactly what it is. I don't know. And we've lost Bo. See, I never quite know what's going to get Bo. If it's going to be somebody juggling a bowling ball with a towel, or if it's going to be somebody saying oeuvre easy.
I don't know why that's funny, but I like it.
There you go. It's that, or somebody just wandering around going bunghole, bunghole, bunghole.
Well, I think
Do
maybe
you like your eggs oeuvre easy?
maybe starting the evening with recording Beavis and Butthead Do America.
That was probably a poor choice on our part.
That's what I'm saying.
It's that you end the evening with Beavis and Butthead Do America. You don't start the evening with that.
Indeed.
That's like when we did Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Did we start the night with that, or when we did
might
Spaceballs?
have.
Did we? I don't know.
There are some decisions we have made that
Poor choices on our part.
Questionable
Indeed.
decisions.
Everybody's we woke up and chose mediocrity today.
Yeah, but
All
we
right.
woke up.
Well, we woke up at least. That's step one. Admitting you have a problem.
That's right.
All right. Because this is the first of the month, first episode of the month, we like to jump in the DeLorean. We like to head back in time, grab our copy of Gray's Sports Almanac, and head back in time and somehow manage to not place the right bets. And so we're in the exact same situation we've always been in. But we like to head back and tell you what was going on this month in 1996. So let's head back to July of 96.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious.
All right, I'm going to have to run through these kind of fast because there was a lot of stuff that happened in July of 96. July of 96 was, as the kids say, busy. So, July 3rd, the UK House of Commons announces that the Stone of Scone, a.k.a. the Stone of Destiny, used in the coronation of Scottish and subsequently English and British monarchs, will be returned to Scotland after 700 years in Westminster. So, took them long enough.
Aye.
July 4th, 1996, you could not only celebrate your Independence Day, but you could also sign up for Hotmail, a free internet email service.
Hotmail.
Hotmail, yeah. I'm not going to name names, but there's an adult in our house that's not me that still has their Hotmail account.
Mine too.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, it still works.
Oh, no.
good
This
stuff.
one doesn't. This one is full. So full that I don't even know if it can be signed into.
Oh, this one's actively used, so yeah, it's
Oh.
yeah.
Like actively as in messages are sent from?
Absolutely.
Wow.
The thing is, we're vintage around here. Like, we like to use things and fix them up a bit and keep using things. As long as they can be used, they're totally fine.
Right on.
So, yeah. So, some people make fun of that. I think it's a badge of honor if you still have your Hotmail account. I don't still have my Hotmail account from back in the day.
I think it is, like all things technology, there is in the eye of the beholder factor.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is only as good as you need it to be.
I would still love to have my GeoCities and AngelFire websites. I do not have them, but
Wow.
those went the way of the dodo.
GeoCities and AngelFire. Have you ever looked on the Wayback Machine to see if yours got preserved?
I should take a look and see. I don't even know if I can remember what the actual addresses were anymore.
Yeah, that would be the challenge, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I'd have to look and see. And at one point, I wonder if I could find that too. At one point, when I was at University of Illinois, everybody had their own like little bit of server space, and you could, if you wanted to, like house your own website. You could host your own website off of your server space they had given you. And I had created, just out of pure boredom, I had created my own version of The Onion, and I had made stories about, typically the stories were about myself, and a lot of the stories were about me taking over as like the emperor for life of the world.
Emperor for life of the world.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding your title.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I'll have to see if I can find those. It was fun stuff.
Yeah, I just
July-
like the title.
Exactly. July 8th, the British girl group The Spice Girls released their debut single, Wannabe, in the UK.
There you go.
July 9th, the next day, Blue, the debut album by Leanne Rimes, is released. It is eventually voted the Billboard Album of the Year, 1997. July 15th of 1996, British Prince Charles and Diana, Princess of Wales, signed their divorce papers. July 21st, The Daily Show, a late-night talk and satirical news program hosted by Craig Kilborn, premieres on Comedy Central.
Wow.
That is where go far enough back, and that is where we get the original copying of the 3 questions that we do comes from the original 5 questions that Craig Kilborn used to do on The Daily Show.
Oh, you mean it's not Bernard Pivot?
Yeah, no.
Sorry, I can't help it sometimes.
No, that's fine. Otherwise, question number 3. Question number 2 is always going to be something about food, and question number 3 is going to be, what is your favorite curse word? No, yeah, it's that I steal from Craig Kilborn. If we could do a moment of Zen, if I could think of one each time, we'd do something like that too. But all I can picture is the moment of Zen where a snake crawled up a guy's nose one time. Yeah, I know. That's the correct response. Births in 1996. July 5th, the first mammal to be cloned from an adult cell, Dolly the sheep, born in Scotland.
Dolly.
Because some Scottish scientist was sitting around going, you know what we don't have enough of around here?
Sheep.
Sheep.
Willing sheep.
Let's make some more. Oh, don't say that, because that takes it a different way. Yeah.
Have I ever linked you the song that I heard once? A friend of mine told me about, and then I heard it once on Dr. Demento myself.
Now I'm worried, but go ahead.
You should be.
Okay.
And if you, I'm going to make sure when I say this, I'm pausing so that you can find it and possibly edit it if you feel you need to. I kid you not, John. The song is called Fisting the Sheep.
Oh, boy.
And there is a line about taking off our wristwatches. It's everything that you think it could be. Oh,
Huh.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I once in a while I stumble upon a version of it on the interwebs. I might link it in the chat
Well, I have not heard that one
if
before.
I can find that. Yeah, it's one of those things. You're talking with a buddy on the golf course one day, and he says, "You would not believe what I heard last night." And you go, "No," and then sure enough, you stumble upon it yourself, and you're like, "Well, okay,
Somebody plays a clip.
that's a real thing." I love the internet, man.
I will have to listen to this at some point. Also, birth in July of 1996, July 3rd. Pat, I don't know if you ever had this person as your student, the YouTuber from the Vlog Squad, David Dobrik.
Ah!
Did you ever have David Dobrik in your class?
We might have been in a music class, like 6-week period or something like that.
I gotta tell you, I feel like music class would be a little too structured for
Yeah.
Senior Dobrik.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 7th grade or 8th grade language arts. I forget which grade it was. Yeah, I had him in that.
There you
Yeah.
go.
His sister played in band.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah. So I knew the family.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's see. I put in a famous death here. I didn't notice too many other famous deaths that I thought would be ones we would mention on the podcast. But I figured, Pat, you might know of this person. But there were a couple of interesting things about this person. July 28th. Do you know the name Harold Fox?
No.
Okay. All right. So Harold Fox, July 28th, 1996. At age 86, he passes away of cancer. He was an American fashion designer. He designed the Zoot Suit, and he was also a big band trumpeter.
Harold Fox. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that name up and
So
educate myself.
I threw that one in there because the combination of the Zoot Suit and being a big band trumpeter, I thought, Pat might know who this is.
Yeah. Well, I will need to look that up. I will educate myself.
Pat will eventually know who this is.
Yes. Yes.
Top sports in this one, July 1st, the Winnipeg Jets move to Arizona and become the Phoenix Coyotes. July 12th, Kirby Puckett, the Major League Baseball center fielder, retires after 12 seasons from the Minnesota Twins due to loss of vision in one eye. I had a bunch of Kirby Puckett baseball cards growing up.
There you go.
Kirby was the man.
July 19th, the Summer Olympic Games open in Atlanta, Georgia. And I feel like not too long after that, was it in July or maybe a little early August? Didn't somebody set off a bomb in the Olympic Village?
Indeed, pipe bomb.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we were started to be afraid of pipe bombs everywhere.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Top books in July of 96 were The Runaway Jury by John Grisham and Cause of Death by Patricia Cornwell. Top movies were, oddly enough, Independence Day. And then the very last week in July, A Time to Kill snuck in there. And then we had 3 top songs over the course of the month of July. We had The Crossroads by Bone Thugs and Harmony, which had been top in June, was kind of finishing its run in July. Then we had, for at least a week, we had How Do You Want It, California Love by Tupac featuring KC and JoJo and featuring Dr. Dre and Roger Troutman. And then finally, You're Making Me High and Let It Flow by Toni Braxton.
Okay. I'm not sure if you are done with your trivia. I've got a couple of sports ones to add in.
Do it. Yeah, do it.
MotoGP. Well, back in the 90s, it wasn't MotoGP. It was the 500 GP Grand Prix motorcycles. Vic Doohan was on his way of dominating, and he was riding his Honda, and I think on his way to his 3rd championship, and he picked up a couple of wins, just, again, dominating the series. In Formula One, Damon Hill in his Williams Renault got both wins. I'm trying to think. I think it was the German Grand Prix, and I forget the other one. But I know that he was well on his way to winning his first title, which was exciting. And one of the races, he kind of like Michael Schumacher had just started in with Ferrari. So, Michael was in the Ferrari, and which I think had engine problems. So Damon Hill kind of inherited the lead and maintained it. But in the whatever the other race was, he had to race back and really, strategize and strategery and use some excellent driving skills to get himself into the lead. So Damon Hill was cementing his grip on the 96 title, which he went on to win. And in IndyCar, there were 2 races, and one of them was up in Toronto, and it was a very sad day for IndyCar because there was a really, really bad crash. And not only did one of the drivers, but actually a course official lost their life. And it was a very sad day, and very unfortunate thing. So just a little bit of racing remembrance there.
All right. I think the rest of our trivia is movie info on this one. So this one came out on July 3rd, 1996. Rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours, 25 minutes. Roland Emmerich was the director. He did Stargate and The Day After Tomorrow. Writer was Dean Devlin, who did Stargate and Universal Soldier. Roland Emmerich also did some writing for this one. He also did Godzilla, the 1998 one, and 2012, because he likes to destroy things. Producers were Dean Devlin, Ute Emmerich, and Roland Emmerich. Devlin had also produced the Godzilla 1998, Eight-Legged Freaks, and the Emmerichs did The Patriot, White House Down, Trade, and Anonymous. Composer was David Arnold, who did Casino Royale and Stargate. Cinematographer was Carl Walter Lindenlaub, who did Stargate, Chronicles of Narnia, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Editors were David Brenner, who passed away in 2022. He did Born on the 4th of July and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Let's see. External W. Reynolds, I guess. That seems like a strange name.
Does.
I have that in the notes here as well for another editor on this one. Production company was Centropolis Entertainment and 20th Century Fox. Budget was $75 million. The box office, worldwide box office on this one, one of the biggest totals we've seen, I think, for any movie that we've done that has come out in this time period. Not the ones we've done like, Avengers or whatever that goes over the $1 billion mark. But worldwide box office for this one in 1996, $817.4 million.
Yep.
So probably about as close to $1 billion as you get in the mid-90s.
Mm-hmm.
Flickmetrics gives it a 69%. CinemaScore gives it an A.
Of course.
Will Smith played Captain Stephen Hiller. He was in Men in Black and Pursuit of Happiness. Bill Pullman was President Thomas J. Whitmore. He was in Spaceballs and Lost Highway. Jeff Goldblum was David Levinson. He was in Jurassic Park and The Fly. Help me. Mary McDonnell was First Lady Marilyn Whitmore. She was in Dances with Wolves and Donnie Darko. Judd Hirsch was Julius Levinson. He was in Ordinary People in a Beautiful Mind. Robert Loggia, who passed in 2015, was General William Gray. He was in Big and Scarface. Randy Quaid was Russell Case. He was in National Lampoon's Vacation and Kingpin. Margaret Collin was Constance Spano. She was in 3 Men and a Baby and Unfaithful. Vivica A. Fox was Jasmine Dubrow. She was in Kill Bill Volume 1 and Set It Off. James Rebhorn, who passed in 2014, was Secretary of Defense Albert Nimzicki. He was in The Game and Meet the Parents. Harvey Fierstein played Marty Gilbert. He was in Mrs. Doubtfire and Mulan. And Adam Baldwin was Major Mitchell. He was in Full Metal Jacket and Serenity. So originally the U.S. military had agreed to support this movie by providing some hardware bases, uniform consulting, things like that. But when the producers did not remove the script's heavy references to Area 51 and Roswell, the Department of Defense completely withdrew its support, and that kind of forced the crew to source some private military equipment for the movie. So there's your conspiracy theory. Did they just not want to talk about it?
I want to talk about it, man.
There was the scene where Will Smith is dragging the unconscious alien across the desert.
What's that smell?
What's that smell? Yeah. And so it's near the Great Salt Lake in Utah, and they said that phrase, that line he uses was unscripted. And the reason why, I'm just going to read it directly from the IMDb here. Great Salt Lake is home to tiny crustaceans called brine shrimp. When they die, the bodies sink to the bottom of the lake, which is not very deep, and they start to decompose. When the wind kicks up just right, the bottom mud is disturbed, and the smell of millions of decaying brine shrimp can be very, very bad. Apparently, nobody warned Will Smith.
That sounds lovely.
That sounds absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
Yes. The other thing that I thought was kind of funny about this one is I remember, and I'm like, there's got to be a scene in this movie. Maybe I'm just making it up in my own head. And I'm trying to remember, is there a part somewhere where Jeff Goldblum says his line from Jurassic Park, must go faster. And I was like, if there's not, that's such a missed opportunity.
When they're leaving the ship.
When they're leaving the mothership, that's when he finally says it. Yeah, there was another part. Right. There was another part, like, I think it was when Air Force One was flying off and everything was blowing up behind it. I'm thinking, is he going to say it here? Is it here? Mm-hmm. It had been a little while since I'd watched this, so I was like, I feel like he has to say it. And if he doesn't, I'm going to be so sad. But he did, eventually.
He said it.
He said the thing, yeah. So, all right. That is our movie trivia for you there. Let's give you a quick synopsis. Let's play the trailer audio, then we'll run through the top 10 major moments for this one before we dive into our opining on Independence Day. In a terrifying instant, humanity's existence hangs in the balance as an overwhelming extraterrestrial force blankets the globe. Now it's up to Captain Stephen Hiller, David Levinson, and President Thomas Whitmore to unite a fractured world. On the ultimate holiday, a handful of survivors will stage a desperate final stand. This July, Earth fights back as we celebrate Independence Day.
It's the real thing. A radio signal from another world.
President, our intelligence tells us the object is settled into a stationary orbit. Part of it is broken off into nearly 36 other pieces, smaller than the whole sun. yet over 15 miles in width themselves.
Where are they heading?
Should be entering our atmosphere within the next 25 minutes.
Let's just get there as quickly as
What's the
possible.
rush, huh? Think we'll get to Washington and won't be here?
It is confirmed. The unexplained phenomenon is headed for Moscow.
It's like a chess. First, their position their pieces, use this one signal to synchronize their efforts. And then what? Checkmate.
God.
I really don't think they flew 90 billion light years to start a fight.
God, I hope they bring back Elvis.
There's gonna be a lot of frightened people out there. Yeah. I'm one of them.
Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
Nothing you want to add to this briefing, Captain Hiller?
No, sir. Just a little anxious to get up there and whoop E.T.'s ass, that's all.
Right. So our major moments for this one, we start off on July 2nd, 1996. A massive extraterrestrial mothership enters Earth's orbit and deploys dozens of 15-mile-wide destroyer saucers directly over the world's major metropolitan civilian centers. Marine Captain Stephen Hiller and his fighter squadron are immediately recalled from holiday leave to respond to the atmospheric threat, while panic begins to ripple across the globe. There's a few things in the beginning here that I don't want to give away too much of my opinion on certain things about the movie, but there's a few things here at the beginning of the movie. I'm going to nitpick a couple things real quick, and then I'll move on. And feel free to jump in if you want to comment on these at all. One of them is there's a thing, and I'm trying to remember if this happens in Roland Emmerich's other movies, but there's a thing where I feel like in this one, and maybe some Michael Bay movies or something like that, where people get in the habit of somebody says something that sounds incredulous, and somebody's like, what did you say? And then they have to repeat it one more time. And it's, I don't know, there's something about it. This one was, well, we know it's not because it's slowing down. What did you say? It's slowing down, sir. Like, well,
It's slowing down.
right. Like, did we need that? Did we need that? So I will immediately just go ahead and say, as I was rewatching it this time, dialogue in this movie, not my favorite, but we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Other things really, really enjoy. Dialogue, maybe not so much. The other one, and this scene has always gotten me. I think even when I saw this in the theater for the first time, he walks out, Stephen Hiller walks out, goes to get the newspaper, somehow never looks straight up ahead of him to see this massive, massive, massive ship on the horizon. Like somehow only ever looks off to the side, to the right, back and to the left, back and to the left. Never forward. And then she does the same thing. Jasmine comes out, brings his coffee, and does the exact same thing. How are you walking out your door? I mean, I guess if you're just maybe looking down at the ground or whatever, but that one, I think as a 16-year-old going to see this movie, I'm like, how do we not look up?
Agreed.
Like that, I don't know. It's a little, those parts bother me just a little bit, but we move on. We progress. In New York City, the satellite technician David Levinson successfully intercepts and decodes a hidden countdown signal buried deep within the global communications network. Realizing that clock represents a coordinated planetary strike, he uses his ex-wife, White House Communications Director Constance Spano, to gain immediate access to President Thomas Whitmore and warn him. President Whitmore orders immediate evacuations for the targeted cities, but the warnings come too late as the saucers simultaneously fire devastating energy beams that obliterate New York, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C. The president barely escapes aboard Air Force One with the Levinsons, while Jasmine Dubrow and her young son survive the firestorm by sheltering inside a Los Angeles highway tunnel alcove with their dog, who makes it at just the last second.
Epic dog jump there.
Epic dog jump.
about
So, what was it? Was the dog's name Boomer?
Yes.
I think Boomer is the dog's name. So, Boomer, nice job. My dog, I don't think would listen well enough to be able to make it. But Boomer, good job listening. Who's a good boy? Yeah. Let me stop there for just a second because I do want to comment on this part. This, to me, is the best thing about this movie. Of all the things I really enjoy about this movie is just the work that was done to film these scenes where you just blow the crap out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You're blowing up the White House. You're blowing up Los Angeles. You're blowing up New York City. Like, this is when they would show the trailer for. I mean, I guarantee this is what drew the people into the theaters. Was you're seeing those scenes from the trailer, and you're like, I got to see this on the biggest screen possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this type of movie is the reason you see movies in the movie theater.
And if I recall, a lot of the explosions were like models that they blew up, right? It was practical effects.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah, because I mean, CGI was still in its infancy, right?
You're still a little way. I mean, you had Jurassic Park a few years before, but you're still a little ways away from the CGI really being able to, I think, do the heavy lifting on something like that.
Right. Well, even Jurassic Park, wasn't that the whole thing where they only used it? They really did practical effects, CGI. They blended a lot of what they had at the time.
Right.
Wasn't that the whole story there? And wasn't the one guy that was, whatever the guy was, he had it set up so when Spielberg was like touring the studio, he had something on the screen and like caught his eye? Because whoever his higher up.
Because they had told him don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he caught Steve. Yeah. In any event, yeah, we're digressing, but that's a fun story to check out with Jurassic Park. But I mean,
yeah,
I remember them talking about, they still had to construct something and then blow it up. It wasn't like all done on a computer. And I want to say that whatever the mock-up for the White House was, just the way that the pieces like shattered or something, they were like, yeah, we were able to really get that, done right. Anyways, yeah, just a lot of practical effects. And well, let me ask you this: Boomer's jump to safety into the tunnel, would that have been like green screen? Because obviously they didn't have a dog jumping out of a like, so that even that would have been like CGI or something. That would have been like green screen work. Which I don't know. Is that a form of CGI? Tell the non-tech person how that works.
No, I don't think that part would be considered CGI.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's cool stuff.
Yeah. What did I read somewhere? Let's see if I can find it again. Independence Day. Yeah, I think I just found it real fast. Independence Day only used 5% of its visual effects were done with CGI.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I got this correct, it is 5% of the visual effects use computer-generated imagery. The filmmakers use CGI for the elements that were impractical to do practically, such as the initial firing of the laser beams, particle effects, things like that, some of the complex dogfight scenes, things like that. But otherwise, pretty much everything else was done using miniature, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it holds the record for being... Was it the most miniature model work to appear in one film?
But even that, like, I don't mind. They can't blow up a real city, but I mean, to construct something and then, that detailed and then, you really only have one take.
Right.
Right.
I mean, you could blow up a real city.
Yeah.
That tends to be frowned upon.
Yeah, they usually don't ask you back.
Well, I mean, there's nobody to ask you back.
I suppose that's true.
Anyway, on July 3rd, after the worst of this seems to be over, we then fade to black and we fade in on July 3rd. On July 3rd, the military launches a counteroffensive, but the human fighter jets easily annihilated because we find the alien ships are protected by impenetrable force fields. We were able to raise the shields, and it's not like Joaquin who's over there screaming, I can't! Looking for the override. Captain Hiller manages to survive the slaughter by cleverly luring an alien fighter into the narrow corridors of the Grand Canyon, blinding the pilot with his parachute and forcing a crash landing in the desert. He subdues the surviving alien and transports it via a refugee caravan to Area 51, welcome to Earth, where Air Force One has recently landed. Inside, Defense Secretary Albert Nimzicki confesses to a decades-long government conspiracy involving a refurbished alien fighter and 3 preserved corpses. Recovered from the 19.
Let's just talk about the awesomeness of that scene.
Oh yeah.
his dad walks in,
That's
and
not
Bill
entirely accurate.
just classic, and the president's like, when the dad walks in, he just sighs because it's getting out of control. And Jeff Goldblum's like, you can't. He's like, and everyone's yelling and everyone's screaming, and it's like, don't you tell my son to shut up. You knew that. What? It's like, Dad, come on, Dad. No, you knew that. What's that called, man? And they've got it with him thinking. There's a couple of times where he's just like, oh. I mean, it's so well done, and Mr. Not entirely true.
Entirely true.
Which part? Wait, what? That is just great.
Yeah.
And then I'm just saying, how cool is it that Area 51 is like a military, like a full-on military base with like fighter planes and it is just. I love that scene. I love that scene. That's not entirely the truth. And the president's ticked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sir, this is a clean room. Open the door. I love it. Okay, I'm back on mute. I'm quiet. We're going ahead.
Yeah.
We're going ahead.
Yeah. And then the captured alien awakens during an examination, during an alien autopsy, if you will.
Yeah, hosted by Jonathan Frakes. I mean,
Exactly.
he wasn't. Yeah,
that would have been appropriate. See, if you're gonna have Brent Spiner,
exactly.
Think when you start to cut the alien open, I think that's when you bring in Jonathan Frakes
To just do his little bit, you know.
Yeah, and he starts to ask some kind of a question. Have you ever wondered? I don't know. You can follow it up with anything you want at that point.
Mm-hmm.
The alien awakens during the examination. One of the descriptions I have here says killing Dr. Oken, but he doesn't kill him because even though I haven't seen the sequel to this, spoiler alert, my understanding is he's alive for that one.
Really?
That Brent Spiner's character is alive in the sequel.
So he doesn't die.
Or at least so I've read. But Bo's giving me a look. And Bo, I think, is the only one of us who's seen it.
Trying to remember how that went down.
Yeah, I suppose.
Spoilers for Independence Day Resurgence, which I have not seen. I've only read a little bit about. Okay. What I did read was that he, after this attack and he was like strangled by the alien, he ends up in a coma. But he is around for the sequel.
Okay, yeah. Now that you say that insanity, I think it makes sense.
Okay. All right.
I think.
And like I said, I haven't seen the sequel, so I'm just.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm basing it off the internet, which is always a terrible idea.
I'll be the first to admit, like, I mean, it's something you should see if you enjoy this movie just because, but, I mean, it's not, yeah.
Yeah. What I was hoping for is if we were going to do a sequel to this one, that it's not like Independence Day Resurgence, not something like that. It's like the aliens come back, but it's on a different holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like March 17th will no longer be just an Americanized version of a Irish holiday. Today, we will celebrate it as our St. Patrick's Day. And then everybody has a Guinness and then goes off to fight the aliens.
I would say everyone hoists a beer and then, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a script idea for Independence Day 3 was they do it on daylight's, fall back daylight savings time.
Oh.
And while everybody's asleep, they kind of are doing a montage during the opening credits, and while everyone's asleep, the aliens slip in and just take out the whole planet. Because the idea is like even when you still lose, and the movie's real short because once all the main cast is done, like it's just there's no point. But that was their loose group idea. I don't know what you guys, if you have any thought. John, you say you love that idea?
I love everything about it. My guess is it's stylized, so it looks like ID and then like a little superscript 3 up at the top.
Sure.
I like this idea. I like this idea. And so what you're saying is any of the remaining cast, like Jeff Goldblum, Bill Pullman, any of these people, they're going to die within the first 5 minutes.
It's even. Like I said, it's just,
That is brilliant. Pat, have you ever thought of writing for movies?
Hey, John, I don't think I'm at that level.
I think you've
more of an.
You're sitting on a gold mine, Canagallo.
I'm more of an idea man. I just, have the ideas, introduce them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like your idea.
All right.
Like, I feel like there's merit to this. I feel like somebody else should try this out at some point.
Well, we could only hope.
Can you imagine if we made some Star Wars sequels and we killed off all the major characters in the first 5 minutes? Can you imagine how many people that would infuriate? I almost want to do it just to see what happens.
Well, just imagine infuriated Star Wars fan.
Oh, that's not hard to imagine.
That's easy.
No. Right? So there you go.
Yeah. That's okay. Quick little divergence here. I don't know how much you guys spend time on the internet and watch useless, dumb things. There have been a series of AI videos that I think are called like Star Wars shorts or Star Wars something, and somebody is taking AI, and it starts off looking like it's a scene from an actual Star Wars movie. And then something crazy happens. One of them in particular, there's one where Vader is talking to Princess Leia. She's just been captured. He's talking to her, and he says, "You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor." And then she goes over and drop kicks him.
Nice.
And I'm just completely lose it, and I start laughing at this. There are a bunch of these videos where it starts off looking like it's an actual scene from a movie, and then they've used AI to like take this in a completely different direction. I got to see if I can find some of those. I'll send them to you.
I love everything about this.
Yeah. I do. I like the ID through.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we have reached the point where the alien wakes up and grabs Dr. Oken and uses him to kind of launch a telepathic assault onto President Whitmore's mind. Through the psychic link, the president actually gets to see what the invaders' true objective is to systematically strip the Earth of its natural resources, eradicate all human life, and then move on to the next system. Desperate to halt the onslaught, President Whitmore does reluctantly authorize a tactical nuke strike against a stationary saucer hovering over an already evacuated Houston. The city is completely vaporized by the blast, but the alien force field completely absorbs the energy, proving that human nuclear superiority is utterly useless against this technology. And frankly, I don't know if anybody could tell the difference in Houston because that place is so god-awfully hot all the time that it probably doesn't make that much of a difference.
Your weapons are useless against them.
I'm not saying I don't like the city of Houston. I'm just saying every time I've been there, it has been so hot that my sweat has been sweating.
Yeah, I've never been, but that is what I hear from everyone I speak to about Houston.
Yeah. So there's that. On July 4th, we finally get to Independence Day. July 4th, inspired by a casual remark from his father, because apparently he didn't watch or read War of the Worlds, David Levinson devises a plan to write a custom.
Would you like to play a game?
Right, just sneeze on the aliens. Then that's what you do. That's how this whole thing gets taken care of. Write a custom computer virus capable of disrupting the alien mothership's operating system. Stephen Hiller volunteers to fly the captured 1947 alien spacecraft directly into space, upload the payload, and they're going to coordinate the global counterattack, organized via Morse code. At the same time, Stephen and David successfully breach the mothership. They upload the virus. They deploy a nuclear device that destroys the massive vessel from the inside out. Back on Earth, that virus successfully drops the shields of the destroyer saucers, allowing the human pilots, including President Whitmore, who volunteers, to finally inflict some physical damage. And then during a fierce aerial battle over Area 51, the human forces completely deplete their missile ammunition just as the saucer prepares to obliterate the base with its main weapon. Crop duster and self-proclaimed abductee Russell Case conducts a suicidal kamikaze strike directly into the firing mechanism, destroying the ship and providing the key vulnerability that leads to humanity's global victory.
In the words of my generation, up yours.
Up yours.
Hello,
And
you
as
alien
funny as
a-holes.
that is, there's footage of an alternate ending.
Really?
What is the...
You guys have never seen this?
I don't know that I've seen it.
It is. You are so glad that they didn't use it. It's almost sacrilege to talk about.
Because there's criticism I have about the scene where he sacrifices himself, but I want to hear this.
So in the alternate ending, he doesn't go up with them. In a fighter plane, he kind of comes out of nowhere in his crop duster.
Oh, I have seen this.
It is.
I have seen this. Now that you say it, I have seen this.
Something else.
Huh.
Yeah.
So the aliens, that explains a lot, okay, because when...
That's why he says, sorry I'm late, because he wasn't there, like... Yeah.
But no, that explains when Stephen Hiller is dragging the alien through the desert and he's going, what the heck is that smell? That explains it, because the way the aliens are susceptible to human smells, because when he flies up in the end, he crop dusts the aliens and that kills them. Is that what you're saying?
That is what the movie was intending to tell us.
Okay.
They used a biplane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad they just, sounds like they were like, hey guys, what do you think? And they thought
let's,
better of it.
let's maybe not do this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Hello, you alien a-holes. I'm back.
Okay, now see, that's.
Okay,
I guess before we go into deep
rubbed you,
thoughts, we're gonna.
Rubbed you the wrong way. Rubbed you the wrong way.
No. Well. I mean, so here's my thought is like, and that's something that I think this movie does when it comes to the dialogue. Oh, here, hold on.
And now, deep thoughts.
I have an opinion on this matter.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
I like it a lot. Wow. It's very deep. Thank you.
Here's one of the problems I have with this movie is some of the dialogue, especially this time around, because I think this is one of the first times I'm actually watching this thing and trying to be a little bit more critical about it, is I'm watching this and so much of the dialogue, there's a lot of parts that are redundant, unnecessary, and unneeded. Notice what I did there.
Yes, we did.
What I wanted to say about the end dialogue there is when he does the line, in the words of my generation, up yours. And then he flies up into the thing. That to me that should be the ending right there. He flies up, the thing explodes, boom, we're done. But instead, we also have a hello boys, I'm back, and then he flies up into the thing and it explodes. And I'm like, but why? We had a good line. I mean, use one or the other. Either one of those are totally fine, but the fact that you have both in there is making me think, why? Why do we So it's stuff like that. I really enjoy the rest of the movie. The action, even though I think some of the dialogue is absolutely terrible and atrocious in this thing, the acting, like the characters are charming, the acting is fun. It's the action, the sci-fi aspects of this, what little bit of the world building we kind of get about these aliens is a lot of fun. And the one thing that just pulled me so much out of this movie this time around was just how bad the writing of the dialogue was in so many different scenes. And I think in particular the times where there is redundant dialogue, it happens so often in this movie that I'm sitting there going, why did the editor not just cut that part out? Like, if you're going to apparently film it and include it, the editor should have gone, well, he already said up yours, and he yelled that, and he was flying. So now why will we also have him say, hello, boys, I'm back, and then do that? Because then that, to me, that then diminishes the whole, like, yelling of in the words of my generation, up yours. That would be like if every time Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted to do, like, his little zinger one-liners, if he did two of them in a row. And I'm like, that's not what that's for. Like the whole idea of a zinger like that, a one-liner, literally a one-liner is that it's one line. If you do two one-liners in a row, now here's the deal.
It was my understanding that there would be no math.
Indeed.
But apparently 2 one-liners in a row make 2 lines, and that's no longer a one-liner. And so I think that was my biggest issue with this, watching it this time around, was I was like, guys, there are so many times that for dramatic effect, for economy of storytelling, for things like that, we should have trimmed some of these lines of dialogue, because some of them are just poorly written anyway. But some of them are, you don't need so many little zingers right in a row. Other than that, I love to see things get blown up. I love a good disaster movie. Give me a Godzilla where we're going to trample a city and just blow crap up all the time. Like anything, alien movie, Day After Tomorrow, destroy the world, go for it. I'm there for it. I will, but will be in seat, is what I'm saying. So everything else about this is such a fun movie, but it's little stuff like that I was like, if you just clean it up just a little bit. That's my comment. Those are the big feelings I had. We didn't even talk about the first time we saw this, though. First time, movie theater. Saw this in the movie theater. Saw stuff get blown up on a really huge screen.
I'm trying to remember if I did. I know I wanted to, but I don't remember.
I am interrupting both, so I'm going to wait.
No, I think first time was probably rental, just because I feel like everything is now.
Do you want to share any of your big feelings?
Gosh, this falls in that comfort movie category for me. I love it. I know it's campy at times. I know it's silly. I mean, even the what's that smell line we were just talking about is goofy, but like there's so many fun parts about it. You've got the whole this is our victory dance, like We smoke the cigars when we win. You know, the whole bit with Goldblum and the fat lady. What fat lady? You're obsessed with the fat lady. It's just so funny when they wave at the end, good night. Like, you know, Jeff Goldblum is such a weird dude, but he's so great sometimes. And this movie is no exception. Like, sometimes it's harder to talk about.
Yes, but without the oops.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that away.
Yeah. That away.
It's just so good. Yeah, I think I enjoy coming back to this movie on a regular basis.
Yes. Came out in the summer, July, right?
Yeah, July 3rd.
Right around Independence Day, right?
My dad and brother saw it. And that, again, this is the summer before I went away to college. So, I mean, I to be honest, didn't head out and see it. It was kind of a weird time with friends for me anyway. There was a lot of kind of the changing. Anyway, another pod, another time, another talk. But I didn't see a lot of movies at this time. I remember my dad talking about it and my brother talking about it, and just, you know, it was probably a spoiler review that I got. My dad especially really loved the movie. And he's like, yeah, this is great, and that it's a takeoff of the old side, you know, the whole thing. And then I remember getting to college, and I want to say that the guys up at school were talking about it as well. And again, I can't remember. I don't know if it was like we went back on Thanksgiving break. I think I saw it. I think that was one of with like all the friends I'd made up at college. A bunch of us. I don't think it would have been still in the theaters by November. Would it have been? I don't think so. I think.
Oh, it's possible. It made a ton of money, so they might have left it.
Yeah. Maybe we went to the theater. I seem to recall they're like, yeah, you got to come over. So we all got together at a friend's house, and it was, you know, I was getting to know people. It wasn't just other freshmen, but, you know, people in the music studio all the way up to senior. And we went to a guy's house and we all piled in and watched it, because I want to say I came back on over Thanksgiving, and I remember talking about it with family on Thanksgiving. So either I came home and I watched it with my family, or I watched it up at school. Or it was if you haven't seen that movie, let's, you know, maybe it was my family. They said, we're going to rent it. When you're back over Thanksgiving, we're going to watch it together. Like, I think my dad wanted to watch it with me. Whatever the heck it was. That's about the time frame I remember seeing it. It's in and around Thanksgiving, after the initial craze and everybody talking about it. And I have big feelings for this movie. I absolutely love it. It's just outstanding.
Don't know if it was still in theaters by November, but I looked it up real quick. It was released on VHS during Thanksgiving week.
Then you know what? I'm guessing that's okay. That gels with what I was thinking. Maybe it was like, hey, it's coming to video when you come back from Thanksgiving. For Thanksgiving, we'll watch it. Or conversely, I got up to school after coming back to school after Thanksgiving break, and we got together with friends and watched it. But I remember for some reason November sticks in my head of when I saw it, and it was. Yeah, it was everything. I love that it's basically in the mold of a 1950s, you know, alien invasion type thing. A little bit of the disaster movie. Well, a little bit. Disaster movie wrapped in. It's very much of its time in the 90s. Just when you look at the cast of characters, which there's a pretty stacked cast.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and no, it doesn't matter how small the part is. Like, you've got people in there. I think a lot of the humor and some of the characterizations and all that are very, very 90s. It's really a fun movie. I love, and that's kind of how my dad described it too, is he's like, yeah, they're grabbing quotes from all different movies. And I feel like they just had an homage to all different sci-fi movies in there, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, there's too many of them when he's trying to like fly through. Remember that when the guy said that, when they're trying to bust through the, all the things coming out, you know, there was the whole, let's communicate with a light show. I want to say, what was it when they come back and he said, Mr. President, the reports are coming in, but looks like they've destroyed, you know, X and cities and that. And then he says they knew exactly where and how to hit us, you know, which is right out of Wrath of Khan. And I mean, it was great. Let's give them a virus. Opening up the computer. Good morning, Dave. You know, I mean, it's just, it was fun. I found it fun. Little nods there. You know, this is right. It's not Will Smith's first movie role, right? Or
Correct.
I feel like I say this every time Will Smith comes up in a movie. For the last couple of years, I've been like, is this his first role? And then, you list off like 10 movies that he's already been in.
Because he was in Bad Boys. We did that one last year.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is right prime Will Smith, right? Because it's this, and it's Bad Boys, and then it's Men in Black.
It's definitely, it's definitely at the very beginning of his movie career.
Yeah, and he just, has the presence. I feel like they just brought all the actors in and said, look, the character you're playing, find out what the character is all about, and, go to 11 and chomp the scenery. Because I feel, Mr. President, do you mind if I ask what you're doing? Is that glass bulletproof? No, sir. The scene that I already mentioned on Air Force One, what do you think we're going to, don't you tell him to be quiet. Don't you tell him to shut up. He would have been, if it wasn't for my David. I keep forgetting the guy's name, the crop duster. I say crop duster.
Russell Case.
Russell Case. Who is the actor that played it?
Oh my God.
Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I mean, that guy was just great. The dunderheads that are like, hey, when they took him up in the spacecraft, they abused him. And it's just tons of fun. And I think what's fun is that it is kind of like a B movie in a way, kind of what they're modeling it after, but they just stock it with incredible special effects, great action, and like really good acting talent. And I think it's, no one missed the memo that this isn't supposed to be fun. No, I'm sorry. No one missed the memo. No one missed the memo that said, guys, this is a fun movie. And I think they all looked like they were having fun with it. Now, I'm sure there's some trivia that's going to say otherwise, but yeah, I really enjoyed watching this movie. You didn't shoot that green stuff at me.
Talk about some of the connections. One of my favorites, because this is one of my favorite old sci-fi movies, and I think I'm going to be giving away one of my answers to one of our 3 questions later. But there is a scene in this movie when they first drop the nuke, when they set off the nuke on Houston, and then the tank pulls up like it's night vision, and you see like the street lamps are kind of bent down, cars are all wrecked and everything else. The way the street lamps are kind of bent down in that scene is almost exactly the way the Martian spaceships looked in the 1953 War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
So they have a ton of stuff hidden in this movie. Like you mentioned, I mean, they've got, what do we have? We have in their trailer, the Case family in their trailer, they're watching The Day the Earth Stood Still. We've got stuff that looks like the War of the Worlds Martian spaceships. We've got you've got somebody riding a missile to crash it into the alien ship. That's a little Dr. Strangelove. You've got some other stuff. I think there's at one point where the little boy, what is his name? Jasmine's little boy, I think he's playing with a doll. I'm blanking out on which Godzilla monster it is. It's not Godzilla, but one of the monsters from the Godzilla movies. He's got a little toy that he's playing with. I believe at one point we have an image of the Statue of Liberty half buried in the ground. You got a little Planet of the Apes there. When they start up the computer at the end, it says, "Good morning, Dave." On David's computer, little Space Odyssey, 2001 Space Odyssey. Yeah, just so much stuff. You've got those the helicopters that are flashing the lights. Kind of like in the same way they would be flashing the lights in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. There's just so much stuff in this movie. And I like the reference to Airplane. Picked a hell of a day to quit drinking.
Yep.
But yeah, a lot of fun. You could tell the people making this really enjoy those old school, like 1950s sci-fi B movies. And you don't get, much like in some of the other movies, you don't get a lot of chance to see the aliens, but like the ships and the threat that's there. And, you'll see them revealed when you really need to see them revealed. Like in War of the Worlds, the 50s War of the Worlds, you never saw those aliens until the very, very end of the movie. And kind of the same thing with this, too. You don't get to see too much of what's going on with these alien creatures, and it's mostly just their ships. And the rest of it's very mysterious, and that kind of adds to the terrifying nature of it when you don't get to see them. All you see is their technology, then it kind of makes it even scarier.
Right?
Yeah. It is. It's a ton of fun.
Yes. It just is a fun movie.
All right. Anything else we want to say about Independence Day before we jump over to 3 questions?
I hope they bring back Elvis.
That was great. Which ties into another Will Smith movie, Men in Black. Elvis is not dead. He just went home.
There you go. I realized if we had done the grouping of the movies a little bit differently, we could have done this one and Mars Attacks in the same month.
We could
That
have.
would have been fun.
Which I think in an early draft of how I was going to structure the months for this year, I think I had them together. I think I had Independence Day and Mars Attacks in the same month. And I'm like, okay, well, that's a perfect pairing, and then switch things around a little bit. But that is, if I was going to go, so I know occasionally I've said, like, here's what I would do if I was pairing 2 movies together. I think for this one, it would either be, let's go ahead and do Mars Attacks. Let's do the 2 1996, alien invasion movies. Or I'll do the one that I mentioned earlier. I would actually pair this one up with the 1953 War of the Worlds. If you want a good double feature, check out the 1953 War of the Worlds and then go watch this one.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you've never seen the 1953 War of the Worlds, I just highly recommend seeing that one anyway. It is outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On that note, let's go ahead and fire up the shields here. And without the oops, let's answer some 3 questions.
He asks each traveler 5 questions. 3 questions. 3 questions.
It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
All right, question number 1. If you had to follow one historical U.S. president into battle against an alien invasion, who would it be?
Grant.
Okay. Why Grant?
He was a general. I feel like he's got some cojones.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna, not saying he's gonna necessarily win, but he's gonna inspire me to get there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. For many of the same reasons, I'm going Teddy Roosevelt.
There you go.
I'd been reading up a little bit more on him lately and just kind of like all of his different things he did, going off and being a cowboy in the West and then the Rough Riders and just kind of his like overall, just his overall general attitude and his exuberance and, all of this. He seems like, number one, he seems like he'd be a charismatic guy to be around, like a fun guy to be around, but at the same time, he seems like he's not going to put up with anybody's crap and kind of seems like he would get in the fight and he would be right alongside everybody else. And so I'm gonna go Teddy Roosevelt.
Okay, I think I'll go President Eisenhower. I think that Supreme. He was the Allied commander during the Second World War. Was he the Supreme Allied commander in Europe?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I think that would be it right there. Cared deeply about his men and led the U.S. forces in the Second World War. Handled combining with the Allies and making sure that was all coordinated and organized and so forth. I think he'd be the guy.
It's a good choice. Number 2, what is your favorite Brent Spiner role that is not Data from The Next Generation? I have always enjoyed most of what I've ever seen him in that's not Star Trek has been smaller roles. I think he's been in a lot of different supporting roles over the year. One of my favorite scenes with him is, have you guys seen the John Travolta movie Phenomenon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which I believe, if I remember correctly,
It's coming up soon.
It is coming up a little bit later this year. In fact, actually, it's next month. Next month, here's a little sneak preview for everybody. Next month, August, there are so many John Travolta movies that came out in 1996 that our entire month next month will be John Travolta Appreciation Month. Because in 1996, he had 3 movies come out. So
which is crazy.
Our month of August will be Broken Arrow, Michael, and Phenomenon.
Wow.
So my moment, though, with Brent Spiner is he plays Dr. Bob in Phenomenon. And I wanted to pull up part of the scene because this is where John Travolta's character has been imbued with these powers, like the ability. He's got super intelligence and there almost seems to be a little bit of, some ESP going on and other stuff. And so he's like, well, I want to figure it out. I have some questions. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to time you. We'll see, how it goes. Okay. So we'll ask the questions. And then it's just funny because I pulled it up here so I would make sure I got it. He starts off with, name as many mammals as you can in 60 seconds. Ready? Go. And then John Travolta's character is like, all right, well, 60 seconds. How would you like that? Alphabetical. Aardvark, baboon, caribou, dolphin, eohippus, fox, gorilla, hyena, ibex, jackal, kangaroo. And he's just going through and he's just like sitting there. And he's like, now, varmint is a stretch. So is Newfoundland. That's a dog breed. Unicorn is mythical. Eohippus is prehistoric. But you weren't being very specific now, were you, Bob? And then his next question is something like, how old is a person born in 1928? He's like, man or woman? Why? Specifics, Bob. And he continues to go through the whole thing and, like, you know, really gives him a hard time for not being specific. But that whole little interaction in that one I really enjoyed. So I'm going to say Dr. Bob in Phenomena.
I'm also going to go with a Bob. He played a little one-off, funny little character on the original Night Court.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back.
I read that he came back for the
to do it
one
on the remake.
Yeah.
And it was the same character. It was kind of fun. So Night Court. The character's name, Bob Wheeler.
Patrick, what is your favorite Brent Spiner role that's not Data?
I keep calling it Overboard, but it wasn't. It was the two guys from The Odd Couple. It was Walter Matthau and
was it Out to Sea?
Out to Sea. That's what it was. Yeah. And Brent Spiner he's the entertainment director on there, and he is absolutely incredible in that role.
Oh, nice. I've never seen that one. I'll have to catch it.
It's awesome. Good. And because he does sing and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And he's singing in there, and I won't spoil it, but he's just, these guys sign up to go on a cruise as cruise operators, or not cruise operators. They're just like deckhands and he's the guy that he's the guy that leads the musical review. And Brent Spiner is, and he's just, no, I don't even want to spoil anything, but he's got a tagline for himself that's pretty funny. It is an entertaining role, to say the least, and I think that's my favorite non-Star Trek role, if we're not counting this one.
Okay, all right, I'll have to catch that one because I haven't seen that one before.
Yeah, if you want something fun and lighthearted with The Odd Couple / Grumpy Old Men / those guys, it's good.
All right. And question number 3. What is your favorite design for a flying saucer? I've already kind of given mine away a bit. Mine is the Martian ships from War of the Worlds, the 1953 version.
Side question, does the Enterprise count? Or no, because it has nacelles and engine room and all that. It's not a strict saucer.
Well, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say not a strict saucer.
Okay.
I'm thinking more like alien flying saucer.
Well, does the Defiant count? No, because you said alien. Never mind.
No, alien, yeah.
We do a lot of Star Trek on here, so we're trying to break out of that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite flying saucer.
I'm trying to get an image of the ship I'm thinking of because I want to make sure it's actually a saucer. I think it is.
Is it the hubcaps from Plan 9 from Outer Space?
No, and it's that's not so much a saucer. I was wrong. I was trying to think of the design of the ship from Space Invaders.
Oh, yeah.
But not really a saucer. I didn't think it was, but I love the concept of the robot in the center.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that whole thing was very, very cool. But it doesn't really do what we want it to. What about the day the Earth stood still?
Yeah, that's a good one.
That might be the one, because that's a pretty classic one, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the day the Earth stood still. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Wow. That was hard to say for some reason.
That's all right. It's late.
Because words.
I mean, there's a lot of really good ones. There's Forbidden Planet. That has got a great flying saucer in it. Leslie Nielsen is in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Earth versus the Flying Saucers has some other good ones. Invaders from Mars, the 1953 one, and War of the Worlds, 1953. This Island Earth, which has the brainy Metaluda mutant that kind of the Mars Attacks ones are kind of based off of. Thing from Another World, the original, the 50s one that the Thing is based off of. Day of the Earth Stood Still is a good one too, though.
Yeah. I'm going to, you know what? I'm racking my brains to try and get a flying saucer, and I really don't. I'm going to go with Cosmos from Transformers.
There you go.
Okay.
I always thought that guy was pretty cool. He doesn't appear that much. He's kind of random, and he can fly his buddies. I always like that concept where in Transformers where they would all kind of unfold and somehow they would transform into something bigger than what they were, and then they could fly other people. You know how the Decepticons would all fly on that triple changer?
Yeah.
And then I always liked it when the Autobots had to go somewhere in the stars, they call up Cosmos, and he was just kind of flying around in space. I always liked that.
Hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just chilling out. So I'm going to go with that. The Cylon ships, the Cylon Raiders or whatever, the original Battlestar Galactica, those were more saucer-like. But when you get into the new one, they're more, I don't know, they have like little pincer things on them.
Yeah, but the old ones were a little more saucerish. Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. That is it for Independence Day. So we have kicked off our Maximum Destruction month. The rest of this month is going to be Dragonheart Twister, The Rock, and Eraser. White Squall is our Patreon episode. A Patreon short most likely will be Spider-Man Brand New Day. Just got to make sure I get a chance to go watch it so I can talk about it. But that's what we got coming up in July. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming on. And as always, you can go over and check out our Patreon. There's some free stuff over there to kind of give you a sense of what's going on. But then if you want to join us, any level of support over there gets you the bonus episodes that you can check out too. And we have a ton of bonus stuff over there at this point. I think we are getting fairly close to having close to 100 episodes, if not over 100 episodes over there on the Patreon. So a lot of bonus stuff over there as well if you want to jump in there and dive into the deep end of hearing us talk more, because why not?
Because why not?
If the world is ending, you don't want to die not having listened to the 30-something movie podcast.
It's true.
That was okay. Last comment, and then we'll sign off. I feel like the version of this we watched had some added scenes back into it because I don't remember them being in the versions I've seen before.
Okay.
There is an extended version of it. I know that.
Okay.
Not sure if it's technically a director's cut or...
Okay. Because there was that one scene in particular. I do not remember it from the original, from when I'd watched this all the other times before. There's that when they're kind of in the Area 51 bunker, and there had been that one kid before that was kind of, hanging out with the daughter. And he's like, this could be our last night on Earth. You don't want to die a virgin, do you? And then we get to the end of the movie, and it's the same. Like, she turns to the boy and goes, could be our last day on Earth. You don't want to die a virgin, do you? And then he turns, and this is another one of those examples of a little bit of hokey dialogue, maybe. He turns to her and just, like, there's a long pause, and he goes, well, if we do, we can die as virgins together. I was like, oh, okay.
I totally spaced that.
All right.
Yikes. I must not have been paying as close attention. That is one thing about a movie you know too well. It's too easy to, let your mind wander and miss little bits like that. I have read about an extended version, though, so I know it exists.
Okay, yeah. So, all right. That's going to do it for this one, though. So thank you, as always, to both of you for coming on, Bo and Pat, for being here and celebrating Independence Day with me.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
All right, everybody, be excellent to each other. Go check out some good movies. If you want to get ahead of our next upcoming ones, go check out Dragonheart Twister, The Rock, and Eraser. And, yeah, we'll see you back here next time.